Alright, we're going to go ahead and get this engine buttoned up the rest of the way. All we have left is the, let's see here, the breather system, the breather baffle system, which is right here, and then just the top cover. Breather baffle is going to be fairly straightforward. Let me grab it. Now this is the breather. This is a new filter element you need to replace when you take this apart, as well as the inner gasket, which is this teardrop shaped one. And there's also a rubber diaphragm in here that needs to be replaced, which I did replace on here. So all I'm going to do here is spray this gasket with some sealant, and then this is the new gasket that goes onto the head that I'm going to spray with sealant as well. And then I'm just going to torque those bolts down to 90 to 120 inch-pounds as specified. Breathers are on, torqued down, front and rear. So I'm going to go ahead and spray this gasket with that copper sealant, put the bolts in, and then these are going to get torqued down to, there we go, rocker arm, cover bolts. So these are going to be 15 to 18 foot-pounds in a crisscross pattern as well. So it'll probably be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that. And this does say to put thread locker on these bolts. Handy blue. Alright, so front one's done, torqued down to 18 foot-pounds. As you can see, I did it in a crisscross pattern. So that one's good to go. This whole side of the engine is done. So I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side. And as you can see, I did get new ARP bolts for these. Alright, today I'm going to be upgrading the ignition system on the Dyna. This is the stock ignition. I went ahead and bought the Dynatek DC6-6. It's a 0.5 ohm upgrade on the stock part, and it's literally a plug and play thing. So to install it's just going to be these two bolts coming out, and there's a 3-plug prong on the back. Going to put the new one on, bolt it in, plug it in, and that's about it. Should be a pretty easy install. Now on this stock one, it is marked Yeah, this one is marked R for the rear, obviously, F for the front. So the Dynatek one is not marked. So I'm just gonna plug them in the same way. Top one being for the rear, bottom one being for the front. And I am gonna be putting some thread locker on these. Okay, so that was that easy. Literally 2 3/16 Allen head bolts, and then a three prong adapter in the back. Yeah, I've heard good things about these. Wasn't a very expensive upgrade. I got it on Amazon for a pretty good price. To accompany this, I got some of the NGK Iridium IX Plugs. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap out these original, or these old ones that I had. And I am gonna be putting a little bit of anti-seize on these, just in case. And they have been gapped already. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and get these plug wires attached. These are some Moroso race wires. They're the 88.65 millimeter, 40 ohm, or 40 amp race wires. So same thing as before, like I said, top one's gonna be for the rear, bottom one's for the front. If you don't know how to do plugs, I can't help you. Now when I get this top engine mount put on, I'm gonna clean these up a little bit in zip time because they're just kind of dangling. So that's it for the ignition. It's literally the new coil, new plugs and wires. So this coil and these plugs should be enough spark for these 95-inch pistons and the extra fuel going in. So I'm excited to see how this works. Like I said, I've heard good things about Dynatek. They seem to have good quality products. Hopefully this is what I needed. Good addition to the formula here. Okay, so as you know, the engine is pretty much all buttoned up on here. Everything's back together minus the intake, exhaust manifolds, and the carb. But this is the intake manifold, stock intake manifold. Earlier in the series of videos I said I was going to port this. Well, I finally got my carbide bits, so I'm going to port this. Basically all this rough surface in here, including the casting marks on the back side here. There's one you can see right there. I'm going to smooth all this out, get a little bit more volume inside here. As you know, this is a 95-inch now, 88, 95 is bigger, more air is needed. So doing this is going to give it just a little bit more air. I've heard people having really good success doing this, sort of getting all the air to flow more evenly, less turbulent air, more laminar air, if you want to use a big college word for it. I'm going to grind down some of this. You can see this quite a big lip. It's like a 1/4-inch lip on the inside here. I'm going to grind some of that down and, like I said, smooth all this out. Okay, I got this porting pretty much done. The main focus here was, like I said, to shine all this up, to make it a lot more smooth than the rough cast surface. And then I also went in here, this is the inlet right here where the carb sits, and this is, of course, the front and rear jug. There's this 90-degree bend that comes in right here. I also opened this up. You're probably not gonna be able to see this, maybe right there. Yeah, this radius right here. I opened this up a little bit, as well as on this side, and I also smooth this out so this radius here on the inside is more rounded. So yeah, that was the big focus, was that area right there. Anyone who works with fluid dynamics can tell you that sharp turns are not good. It builds back pressure. So I just wanted this to be as smooth as possible, get as much air through here as possible. I did take out the airflow sensor while I did this, just because I didn't want any of these little burrs to get stuck inside that little hole. And all I used was a little carbide burr. This is the one I finished it with on the radiuses, because this is a round ball. So I just kind of got in here. My air gun decided to quit on me, so I kind of just got in here and worked it around and got it to open up. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this intake manifold back on. I did get new seals for it, and I went ahead and replaced the Allen head bolts with these hex head bolts to make it a lot easier for install. These are going to be a lot stronger too. These are grade 8 bolts, not that it matters, it's just an intake manifold. It's not going to be a lot of strain on it. But this is going to be a quick and easy install. They slide onto these left side, I guess, pulley or chain side. They slide onto these bolts, and then you put the other bolts into the flange and then just tighten them down. I am going to be putting thread locker on these just because. So that's about it. We'll go ahead and get started on this. And that is that. Yeah, these were so much easier. If you're taking your intake manifold off for any reason, I highly suggest swapping out for these hex head bolts. That was a million times easier to get in there with just a simple 1/2-inch wrench. So yeah, definitely recommend. All right, so that's it for the engine basically. Next week's video is gonna start this thing up. All I need to do is jet the carb, which only takes a few minutes. Install the carb as well as the cables for the throttle and idle, and then put the new exhaust studs in and install the exhaust. All in all, it's only going to take a few minutes to do, especially after I edit everything. So this bike will be running next video next week. Yeah, putting the rocker covers on went a lot faster than I expected, so I went ahead and threw in what I did with the intake manifold. I don't know if it's going to work, but in theory it makes sense. And I've heard of people doing this and, you know, having a little better performance out of it. So we'll see. No harm, no foul. So again, as always, thanks for watching the videos. We're getting to the end here as far as the engine build goes. I still have a lot of body work to do, which is a whole nother thing. But yeah, this bike is coming together. It's coming together really well. So stay tuned next Thursday. Gonna be a big video. Finally gonna get this thing started up. So make sure you come back next week and check that out. Thanks again.